So I was wanting to get a little bit more clarification on the I am. Is it as simple as, like you're saying, just the feeling of existence that I exist, that I am, which is like one of the exercises you said, close your eyes and feel, and open and then close, and you just know that you are, even though you've closed your eyes. Is there no, there is no, there is no feeling, no emotion, no like when you think about God, there's a feeling, there's this there is more than just existence. Or for me, sometimes the mind wants to go back and say, okay, I'm before the emotions, before thought, and it tries to look at it as a witness, but it becomes a mental thing. So the clarification is it just I am, like just the feeling of you are? Is there anything more than that?
No,
No,
it is just
it's just.
existence. And if you can allow it to be that simple without mentally polluting it with wanting it to be more, wanting it to feel like some positive thing, or yeah, just interpreting it, like that's when it opens up to you more and more. And it's far more valuable than any positive feeling.
So where does the feeling of witness come in then? I think that what confuses me. When you say that
Because
one should be a witness,
because the witness is what exists. The existence, whose existence are you feeling of the witness or awareness? They're one, not two.
so there's no witnessing then,
Meaning,
meaning like there is no function of witnessing. So when to me, I guess there was part of confusion. So when I say, okay, in the practice, okay, I'm a witness, you try and witness the thoughts, right? So there, that's again becomes a mental thing. So that is not it. The witness is just referring to, just because that it's the knowingness, that it just knows, and there is no function attached to it.
no, no function. It's not an activity. All activity is witnessed. So, or all activity, there's awareness of. So awareness is I am. And this isn't something you're doing. It's not an effort you're making. It's not an activity you're performing. You're just acknowledging what is, what you are. If you give it to your mind, it's going to get very confusing. That's why the pointer is bypass all that mental interpretation and wanting to grasp it and just acknowledge existence. Concentrate yourself in that acknowledgement. It doesn't leave any room for mental chatter. Concentrate in your concentrate yourself in the acknowledgement of existence. Make that your anchor. Whenever we find ourselves thinking, once again, acknowledge existence. Thinking will drop away and all you're just here. I am. Don't want it to be anything else other than just that simple acknowledgement of existence. But that is what will bring the depth that you seek. But that's what I was saying earlier, that existence is of what you truly are. That feeling of that existence or that beingness does not belong to the body mind.
Mm.
It is not emanating from anything inside of this experience because this experience is appearing in that. That's why that teaching is so direct. Anytime you acknowledge your existence, you are being
Mhm.
the self.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So the feeling of existence, then is a non-localized beingness,
Hmm.
right? I mean, like earlier on, or at times it feels, I think I mentioned, feels like a sensation, but it's not. It's that sensation is a mental feeling, mental um, aspect coming in.
Any
Um,
sensation, any thought, anything that does have a location is perceived by that which exists.
right.
That's why, yep, right. Awareness and being, same. Aw-
Right.
Whatever is aware is, whatever is knows. And so anything you can say is like, oh, I feel this here, or I feel that there. That is a feeling you know. Return to the knowing, acknowledge the knowing. The knowing you
But
do
then
not
why did
know,
this? Sorry.
just real quick, clarity on
Mhm.
that. Knowing is not something you know as an object.
Mhm.
When you try to know the knowing, you're simply acknowledging knowing is. I know.
Um, I read a lot of Ramana Maharishi a few years back and still read Nisargadatta Maharaj and Ramana. He often mentioned, or when people asked him about the cave of the heart, and I think that's partially that kind of confused me because he localized it.
But if so, in some teachings, yes, he mentions that, but in even those dialogues, he very much recommends that you do not give any significance to anything that has a physical location. So oftentimes, yes, he
Right.
does refer, oh, like, right side of the chest or whatever. He just give no significance to it. Ultimately, the heart is the self, the that out of which everything arises. And in our direct experience, that is felt as I, the feeling I am, or existence.
Mhm.
It is not really a personal phenomenon. It is existence. It is the beingness of the self. So that is why all of self-inquiry meditation is to anchor yourself in that non-verbal acknowledgement of existence. I am. You can either take that route, being aware of existence, or if the words kind of are a little more clear for you this way, be aware of awareness. Either way, you land in the same place, right? For some, it's easier to just acknowledge that I exist. For some, acknowledging awareness, being aware of being aware is simpler. When thoughts arise, instead of going with the thoughts, you acknowledge the awareness in which they appear. Always you
Yeah.
turn inward to that which knows. Know the knower.
The place of total surrender is also the same.
Yes, surrender also brings you to this exact thing. That's why these practices are so interrelated and they essentially are one. And that's why we these are the only two practices we focus on here. Like they're both the direct path. Because when you completely surrender and you're totally allowing of what is, totally willing to experience what may come, you are being as that awareness which alone exists. You know, you can't surrender like the person is the opposite of surrender. Person is constant wanting, moving, desiring, fearing. The whole process, we bundle it up, call it a person. Now we are, through the practice of surrender, we are uncovering our true nature as that awareness in which all of this phenomena appears and passes. So surrender also brings you back to this. So in essence, this direct path is very simple. At any given time, be aware that you exist. Be aware of being aware. And two, totally allow what is. Never be in opposition to the contents of the present. It really comes down to just those two things in terms of practice.
So when Eckhart Tolle talks about being in the now, um, basically he's also saying drop the thoughts
Yes.
and feel the presence. Yeah.
The presence is of whom? That which exists. Presence is existence. It's not separate from existence.
Right.
What you call the present moment is existence,
Mm.
right? It doesn't have a form,
Yes.
but you know
Yeah.
it's always now. That what we
There.
what we call the now is existence.
Very
All
good. Yes.
forms, all forms come and go in it. Existence remains.
Mm.
Let's say a few years ago, the version of the body you were experiencing, the world that you experience, all that stuff came and went. When it appeared in existence, it appeared to be real. It's
Mm.
like that formless existence enlivens all of these
Ah, good.
phenomena, and now that has gone. It's no longer in existence, so it's no longer real. It never really
Mm.
was real. It only appeared to be for a moment. Just like this
Yes.
experience, it also appears to be real right now because it's being enlivened by existence. It's not, it doesn't exist. It's equally as unreal. It will soon cease to exist. Only existence remains. And so existence belongs to self. You are that alone. You are not this image, Bindu, or this life being lived. This is just a dream. That reveals itself when we stop identifying with these forms and focus on that existence alone. And that's why surrender, because what's the opposite of surrender? Wanting, being totally fixated in these images that are essentially unreal and just wanting things, wanting this experience, wanting that experience. It always keeps you in an outward focus, only in form. Surrender reveals the formless. So, yes, the present moment is existence itself.
That is the Satchit, the Sat existence. When we talk about Satchitananda, Sat being the existence, Chit being the consciousness, the knowing. So the
Yes.
aspects,
So,
they're
that's more
just
chit.
words.
Existence is chit.
Ah, the knowing.
To
Okay.
whom it belongs is sat. But don't worry, we don't need to
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I'm
that's
glad
where we
you,
can
yeah, you, because I always thought Sat as existence and Chit as knowingness. Yeah.
they're not
Okay.
two, they are one.
They're one,
They are
right?
one. But yes, that existence is that consciousness. To whom does it belong? That which cannot be perceived. That which is
Right.
totally prior to birth and death. But yes, that's just going in the realm of concepts. It's not so important.
Right.
What's important is, hey, guide your attention to this, which never changes. It's always the same, no matter how much all of this stuff is changing. Anchor yourself in that, and that alone will reveal truth.
Thank you. I've been going around in circles, catching my own tail for some
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, no, this practice, it simplifies things and reveals everything you know. So trust the practice, trust silence more than, when we want to mentally dive into these things. And yeah, that's the way to go.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks.